Just hanging out in West Virginia with my dog, having fun in the woods. Can't ask for much more than that. What do you think, Nolly? Think it's a good enough spot to stay tonight? Well, what's up, everybody? Syntax77 here. I am in the beautiful Spruce Knob-Seneca Rocks National Recreational Area. Real quick, solo trip. Well, solo with a dog. My trusty pal Denali and I are here. Danielle Disco pretty much abducted my wife and took her to the beach, so I abducted the dog and took him down to West Virginia. This is actually the runner-up when I did my viewer's choice, where do I hike video. I said, wait, I already have plenty of info from the viewers, threw some stuff in a pack, ran on down here, got here late tonight. I'm pretty much just gonna settle in, get set up, have some dinner. Tomorrow we're gonna hang out at camp and you'll get a little bit better view of the place. As you could see earlier, we got here just in time to have some sunlight when we came through those meadows. It was real nice. And made it here to camp, and I actually was coming through. A lot of the spots are taken up because I'm so late and wrong. It's like 8 o'clock right now. It's crazy. So all the prime spots are taken because my wife went to the beach on a Saturday. Usually I avoid Saturdays, but here I am. So slim pickings, but then I hear somebody say hi. They say they recognize me. His name is Rich. And Rich, if you're watching this, thank you once again, because you reassured me that if I went a little bit further, right over by this waterfall over here, there were some campsites that you saw earlier, and they were still open, so I got them. I was getting a little dismayed, but my spirits are lifted now. So, all right, you can probably barely see me. I'm gonna get working on maybe some fire. It looks like we have a little bit of firewood here, which is super cool, already picked. So, we do some chores and enjoy it. It is right at the beginning of June, so I'm ready for some nicer weather, and a lighter pack is nice. Well, that light's a little better, isn't it? Although my camera looks a little crooked, doesn't it, Denali? But we're still waking up right now, so I'm going to give myself a pass. Here we are. It is morning now. I slept until like 7:30, which felt pretty good because we were up pretty late. Geez, I think I was up till like 1 o'clock because by the time I got kind of settled in here, it was like 9 p.m. at least. And I just wanted to relax a little bit by the fire, which we made last night, and we got kicked up again this morning, which is nice, especially if you know my reputation with fires. Got the campsite behind me, the hammock set up and the tarp. Nolly even has his own little hammock as well. Right now I just want to make some coffee, some Spam. I got a little coconut oil to put in my coffee and make it extra fancy this morning. And then maybe after breakfast I'll show you around camp. And we're right here by a waterfall on Seneca Creek. Definitely time for some Spam. You want some Spam too, Nolly? I might share a little bit. I've been experimenting lately with a ketogenic diet, and that's basically high fat, adequate protein, virtually no carbs. Like 20 grams a day I'm aiming for or less. So don't worry, there's still a burger at the end of this video, but maybe no fries. But anyway, at first I thought that would be impossible to go backpacking like that, but it hasn't been so bad, and the weight of food that I brought was about the same as I would bring for a trip anyway, just because the stuff I'm bringing is so calorically dense. Coconut oil I eat at home. This isn't a full container, it's a partial container that just happened to have the right amount in it. And I use that in my coffee. Gives me plenty of calories in the morning, so that's what I'm about to do now. This was actually supposed to be my dinner last night, Spam. Now this is high in sodium and not the healthiest thing in the world, but a little treat every once in a while, and it's definitely high fat, and there's only like 3 grams of carbs in that. And then I've been eating jerky and pepperoni and stuff like that. Now, of course, like I said, still looking forward to that flame broiled burger once I get out of here. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. But enough about that. I should focus on breakfast. Got some water too, huh, Niles? We've been using the Catadine B3 filter that I did a couple separate videos on. Now in those 2 videos, one time I showed the standard setup and one time was a larger 2-liter setup, even with some gravity tubing and stuff. I just brought this little guy. Like I mentioned in those videos, it filters so fast that no big deal. The stream is right over there, as you can probably hear, and I just dip, squeeze, I'm done in a matter of minutes, probably less. Oh, that's good. All right, let's bust out the cook set. Trusty cook set hasn't changed, although I'm finally carrying Esbit again. It's been a long time, but I'm on a solo trip, so I'm going nice and light. We got our windscreen, the lid. I just bring a 750 ml pot that's functional as my cup and my cooking vessel, although, well, no, I will be cooking in it. I'm gonna cut this Spam up and use the pot as like a fry pan, kind of. There's my little pellet tin, just a little tin that I use to elevate the Esbit a little bit, and then it also allows me to seal it up and not have to smell that Esbit afterwards, and I can reuse the cubes later. Molly. And there's my Esbit cubes. Just brought a few of those. Some backup matches, paper towels, some soap. Thank you, Nolly. Let's go back here, buddy. And my fire went out, so that's good. First continues. I'll kick that back up, I guess. I guess if I really wanted to, I could use the fire instead of the Esbit, huh? That would be more like mountain man-ish, I guess. There we go. A little more rugged looking. Just prop the cup up there and let it heat on up. And now, of course, I'm still going with my trusty instant coffee, of course. But you know what? I did upgrade for this trip. Nescafe Reserve. What do you think of that, huh? Yeah. You doing all right, buddy? You sleep okay? You slept in your little hammock? That's pretty cool, right? Yeah, you're still waking up too. Alright, well, stare at that fire for a little bit while we wait for this coffee. Maybe you can lay down. There you go. Now, of course, I probably went too minimalist. Usually I don't do any quote-unquote real cooking, so it's not a problem, but obviously I have to drink my coffee before I can cook my Spam. So I probably should have thought of that and actually brought a separate cup this time, but that's okay. I also got to figure out how to cut this stuff up. And if I was really creative, I do always carry a couple pieces of tin foil. I could spread a piece of tin foil on one of these flatter rocks and cook it there. If I had done it last night, I probably would have done that, but for the sake of time, I think I'm just going to do it in my pot after I drink my coffee. And I'm just going to, I guess, cut the Spam up at the end of my spork, because that's all I'm carrying. And basically just cube it up, I guess. Anybody who doesn't like Spam, this is probably your worst nightmare, watching somebody just cube up raw Spam in the can. You got to be just loving this right now. In today's episode of Healthy Cooking in the Woods, alright, well that is prepped. Our prep is done. Alright, wipe that off with a little napkin. Save that for cleanup later. How's my coffee doing? Oh man, I think it's getting sizzly. That's good. Coconut oil. Give me some much needed calories for today's hike. This is like a 16-mile loop, and we're about halfway through it right now. So 8 miles yesterday, 8 today roughly. We'll get into all the details of the trail once we start moving. I do this at home too. Put a tablespoon of that in my coffee every morning, and that's pretty much my breakfast. And some heavy cream. Good stuff. Alright, let that heat just a little more, and I think coffee's ready. So in a way, coffee's my first course anyway, because I'm probably going to get 150 calories out of that right there, and then followed up by my Spam attack. I should be good for quite a while. Oh yeah, it's sizzling. Hot enough for me. Good Lord, that coffee is so hot that I think I'm going to let it cool down for a moment. And you know what? I think I'll just show you the campsite now while I let that thing cool down a little bit. See, there's the hammock system right there. That's my Dutchware Chameleon. I have a separate video on that, as I said. I'm really liking that. I had somebody ask the other day, can you just show your whole setup? And you know what? This is it. Now, I also joked when they said that it's evolving all the time, so who knows how long it'll be accurate. But as of right now, that's my Dutchware Chameleon. I got the bug net attachment. That bug net does come off if you want to go even lighter weight. I actually slept with it open last night. because the bugs haven't been that bad. But you could completely detach it, or in the winter I can swap it out for a solid cover. That's my hammock gear 30 degree Phoenix model, which is a 3/4 length. And then you put just a little foam pad under your feet down there. Or last night I didn't even bother doing that. It only went to like 50 degrees and I didn't even bother having a pad under my feet. It kept me nice and toasty. And I had a 40 degree top quilt in there as well. You guys have seen my hammock gear. It's called the Burrow and it's the 40 degree model. So that's working really good. And underneath, look at that. That's Nolly's little hammock. Now you can see what ended up happening here. He was just too distracted to get into that thing. He's a little nervous in the woods nowadays, aren't you, buddy? Hey, what are you doing over there? Sniffing around. He's a little nervous. He's only been on a few trips, so that coupled with the newness of the hammock was a little much to have it up in the air. So what I ended up doing was, it's almost like his little cocoon. As you can see, it's almost touching that pad. So I brought the pad just in case for him to lounge on and sleep on. So the pad's underneath. When he gets in, he's actually touching the ground, but he's kind of semi-suspended and swaddled in there, if you will. And he seemed to really like it. And inside I had, as well, a lightweight fleece. Now I do have materials to make him his own little doggy top quilt, if you will, someday for colder temperatures. But it's pretty mild out here. Like I said, 50 degrees is about the lowest we got. So he just went with this fleece, and as you saw before, he's got his little lumberjack fleece kind of jacket or some sort of synthetic blend, and that keeps him pretty warm as well. He's a very short-haired dog, and he basically has no hair on the underneath of him, so he gets cold pretty easily. But with that and his little blanket, he's pretty good to go. You can also see that Nolly and I are both using the same exact strap system, the Dutchware Dyneema straps. You can buy these separate, or they just come with the chameleon, which is how I discovered them. But I have two chameleons, so I stole this one, and now it's on Nolly's thing. When Sarah comes out with me, we'll probably, you know, use whoopee hooks or some sort of system that we have laying around. Because this hammock, by the way, I got it from Dutchware as well. It's called the 2T hammock seat. It's actually like a little portable seat, but it works great from what people say for dogs, and I've found it to be about the right size as well. And then of course our shelter, if you will, our rain protection, is the Hammock Gear Cuban fiber hex tarp, or Cuban, however you want to say it. I believe they're actually starting to call it Dyneema now. I don't know, but it's the Cuban hex by Hammock Gear. Mine is in the 12-foot ridgeline, so I did pay a couple bucks extra just to get it longer. Some guys say that makes it harder to find trees that are the right distance apart. I can understand that. You do have to find trees that are an extra foot apart, but I do like the extra coverage. Just if I do get caught in the rain, I can be under there and walk around a little bit, do some chores without feeling too cramped. And if the wind is blowing and whatnot, it gives me a little extra insurance, because I don't have the doors on there. I just prefer the simplicity of this setup. So it's got the 4 pull-outs and then the 2 side pull-outs. I didn't bother with those last night, but if I expect heavy wind and rain, I will use those to really batten down the hatches as well. And it works pretty good. And that's that. It's like 5-point-something ounces just for the tarp, 8 ounces total with all the lines and everything. As a matter of fact, I haven't done a warm weather ultralight backpacking gearless video in quite a while. It's been like a couple years now. I just a couple months ago did one for winter. We're gonna do a classic what's in my pack video for my winter backpacking gear list, which some people actually got a little weird about, because they said, how could you be ultralight in winter? Your bag's 15 pounds. Well, I'm not going to apply the same 10-pound rule. Not that I even really like the 10-pound rule. But I'm not going to apply that to my winter gear. That's insane. I think 15 pounds for winter is pretty good, and that's just my personal choice. People get a little wrapped up in the numbers. But anyway, this system I'm carrying with me right now is pretty much my most minimal, I would say, for me, system. It's 9-ish pounds. I didn't weigh it before I left, but I'll do a tabletop review or kind of a sit-down to go with this video, kind of like I did for the other one in winter, and we'll really go through all the gear. But I'll save that for a separate video. When it's done, I'll link it right in here, and I'll show you everything in the pack. But there's really not a lot. Nolly has his own pack, as you can see hanging up right there, and it's like more of like a rugged kind of canvas sort of bag. A little more of a bushcrafty kind of vibe for Denali instead of a colorful backpacking pack. I like it. It was only like 30 bucks on Amazon. and it's got outer pockets on the side, some loops for attachment, and then on the inside it has a main compartment, and I keep his food in there, and then there's even an inner zipper pocket. I think this is pretty nice for 30 bucks. And I put like some jerky in there for him or whatnot, and it's identical on the other side. That seemed to work real nice for him. I like it. He got a little wet yesterday going through some stream crossings, and it did soak up some moisture on the outside, so that's something to be aware of, but the contents on the inside were still dry. So I don't know about like a deluge, an absolute rainstorm, how this thing would do, but worked pretty good for this trip, and I was not expecting rain anyway, so that's good. I didn't want to add that factor to one of his, hey buddy, one of his earlier trips. He's been on, is this his third trip now, I think? 2 with my wife and 1 with me. Right, buddy? Is that coffee cool enough yet? I've been running my mouth for a while and I'm getting a little parched. My fire went out, so I will end up using this Esbit after all. Like I briefly showed before, Esbit comes in these little packets, and it's a solid fuel. And I find that one of these, usually, and temperature obviously is a major factor, both ambient air temperature and the temperature of the water you're heating up. But usually I estimate one of these cubes for every 2 cups of water that I want to heat up, which is very similar to liquid alcohol stoves. I find an ounce does 2 cups of water roughly. So I'd say if you're familiar with alcohol stoves, 1 tablet of Esbit is very similar to 1 ounce of alcohol. But as you see, I have this tin here, and it contains itself. So that's left in there from last time I used this, whenever that was, and this just kind of helps lift it up. And it should hopefully light up. I don't know if this right here will get done what we need to do. Probably. We're just sauteing up some, there we go. We're just sauteing up some Spam, and then this is my Vargo windscreen. Real light, I think this guy's like an ounce, and I just pop them around there. And I make a diamond shape, and it pretty much fits my pot exactly. One thing I forgot to bring was a little bit of butter. I do have the coconut oil, but I don't think I want coconut flavored Spam, although that might be good. It's very Hawaiian sounding, but I think its own fat will probably get the job done. Come on, Spam. This is a ton of calories here, but at this point it's like 10 o'clock. I'm just really enjoying myself at camp today, and I'm only here today and last night. It's a real quick trip. Like I said, my wife's at the beach, so this might be a little much at once. So I'm just here to explore today and then head back home, and she's doing the same, and we'll both meet up hopefully around the same time. She'll probably be getting home kind of late. Alright, start heating this up, see what happens. It's sizzling. Whew. Man, the handle got real hot real fast. Now this is a titanium cup, which titanium is not good for heat transfer at all, really. That's why titanium fry pans really, you'd rather have aluminum. And it's up to you. Aluminum's heavier, but it conducts heat so much better than titanium. But I'm taking what I can get right now and trying not to burn the crap out of my pot. Since this is a quick trip, I can do something like this and not worry about, you know, my pot being all gooky tomorrow when I want to use it for coffee. It's kind of the fun thing about these quick one-night trips. Alright, I would say that's warm enough for me. That's like half of it right there. We'll see how that goes. Blow that out pretty easy. Once that cools down, I put the lid back on, and self-contained. Esbit does have kind of a, it's like a fishy kind of smell, so that's another reason I like this tin, is that the unused things are really nice and sealed up, and I don't have to worry about smelling that, or my gear starting to smell like it. See how the Spam is. Oh, very good. Nice and sauteed. Didn't burn my pan too bad. Plenty of fat in there, so sauteing it without butter or oil was fine. That's some good calories. What do you think, Nars? Alright? Nolly's a little concerned right now. There's some hikers on the trail over there going by. It's okay. Very intense. He's on high alert. At this point, camp is broken down, which is a nice feeling. Just hanging out. Put away some of my food. You can see I got real fancy for this trip. Just a grocery bag with all the food I need in it. I keep it on the top of my pack, and then it's easy to hang up at night too. On a long trip, it would probably fall apart and not be the best idea, but for quick trips, everything in one spot, right in the bag. Pull it out, put it back in later. Easy. Alright, well, I'm gonna quit gabbing, eat this, and I think we're gonna get back on the trail. All right, you ready? Let's go do this. Nice little walk along the creek here, Seneca Creek. We're actually on the Seneca Creek Trail right now. It's basically where I camped last night. I'll throw a GPS tag on that for the campsite, and I'm actually, where are you going, buddy? And I'm actually recording the whole track as usual. So if you want to do the home game, play along at home, feel free to go to my website. I'll put a link in there, or just go to syntax77.com, hit the GPS data link, and you can see the whole route and any waypoints I may have made, etc. But yeah, we're just moving along. Enjoying our morning so far. How you doing, Nelly? Hanging in there? Now, I don't know if I just didn't notice it yesterday or if the pack's settling in, which I think it might be, but it's definitely too loose, and unfortunately, it's cinched down the straps as much as I can. I'll have to see what I can do to rig it up properly when I get home, if I have to re-sew something. I do really like the pack, but he's just so skinny, especially in the back, that it's not quite fit on him properly. But you're doing all right, buddy? Yeah? It's a little lighter now. You ate some of that food, but he has his hammock in there, his leash. I didn't mention I carry a 15-foot Kevlar strap, that yellow strap you may have seen on the trees, and that gives me some peace of mind at night that he's not going to wander off. People have asked if that ends up getting tangled. The first two times we did it, no. Last night he must have gotten up to do something, and he was kind of wrapped around one of the tent lines, so that's not great, but it's better than waking up and worrying if my dog's still there at night. Oh wow, would you look at that. Now, remember last night I said my new friend Rich saw me hiking and told me about some campsites, and when I was walking last night, he told me specifically, right when you get to the waterfall, the big one, not the small one where I was, that there is campsites by the falls. I've never been here before. I feel kind of silly, but that's a much bigger waterfall than the one I found last night. So this is probably the campsite he was referring to, and he said there's another one somewhere else around here too. But I ended up by the mini waterfall last night. But thanks again, Rich. I'll have to come back with the wife sometime and actually use the campsites you were talking about, because it is empty. Seneca Creek Trail. Alright, that's what we're doing, Nolly. I'm going to double check my GPS, but I believe you are headed the right way. Let's go across it. Come on, we're going to go across it. Don't go towards the falls. Go straight across. I saw what you were doing earlier. Woo, that's a little deeper, huh? Come on. Silly boy, you went right towards the edge of the falls. That would have been ridiculous. I don't trust you around waterfalls anymore, do I? Alright, now this Horton Trail, looking at my GPS, it looks like things get steeper. This certainly seems to be heading up, so here we go. Now, Rich told me last night, oh man, you got a little bit of a hump in front of you for the second half of your loop, and I'd say he's right. Come on. Yo. Don't trust you. Oh boy. Keep it moving. Oh, wait. Hold on. This says to turn. You should probably pay attention to that. Alright, we're going to cross this. Me and you. Do not go towards the edge of the waterfall. Because I know you speak English, and I trained you so well to know full paragraphs about waterfalls, so you obviously are going to do what I'm saying right now. Good job. So what we ended up doing was we gained some elevation, and relatively quickly we're up top here above those falls that we just saw, as well as the creek and the trail that we've been doing alongside of it. Pretty cool. Your little jacket came off almost. Hold on. Hey, come here. That can't be good. Let's fix that. There we go. I swear I had that more secure yesterday too. It's all right. We'll figure all this out. All right, come on. Oh, what do we got here? Is it opening up a little bit? A little sunshine? Yes, it is. That is some sun. It's hot. My temp is reading 78 degrees, but the direct sun feels even hotter than that. Now, originally there was a forecast for some storms to start hitting around 1 or 2 o'clock today. I can only hope that that has been pushed back a little bit. I mean, it looks pretty nice now, and it's 11:46, but then again, it's a little over an hour away from when they said it might start. So if there's a cold front or something coming, it's going to slam into this warm air. Hopefully we get out of here without getting too wet, ideally. Another intersection. I believe we're going left here. Whoa, that's slippery. Oh my God, that's slippery. Took me by surprise. Didn't phase you, did it, Nelly? I don't need to be falling. Oh, another field. Love it. Get out of there. Keep going, man. I'm following you. Let's go. That is a nice view. Good way to start the day. Tell you what, the viewers have recommended this. Definitely gotta thank you. This is pretty nice. Nice and peaceful in here. It's nice. Really give you a nice variety on this hike, it seems. Get your waterfalls, your hardwoods, your fern gully areas, your wide open spaces, meadows. Pretty cool so far. Definitely not doing the same pace I was last night. Same mileage, like I said today, about 8 yesterday and probably the same today, but yesterday was really hoofing it. Now I've slowed down a little bit. I do have a ride in front of me. Once we get back to the car, Nelly and I will go somewhere where I can get a burger that's either dog friendly, or I'll just pick it up inside and eat it outside with them somewhere in the car. But just enjoying ourselves right now. Now, I referred to this as a loop, but it's actually more of a lollipop, meaning, you know, you got your out and back hike, which you just go point A to B and then return B to A, and your loop, of course, which is a circle. In this case, it's a lollipop, so it's got an out and back in the beginning and then a loop at the end. So we're doing the loop part now, and then we'll connect with the trail that I took in. So yesterday, when I came in at night, you didn't really miss too much because we'll be hiking that same segment out today. See, all works out. You need some water, buddy? I think you do. This is why you carry your own stuff, right? Isn't it nice? Got your own bottle of water. A little water bowl that we found online. Doggone dish, apparently. These are nice. I haven't actually weighed them yet. Like I said, I did this trip pretty quickly on a whim. But when I do, I'll probably have to do a separate video on Nolly. Come here. And his gear setup. Maybe show his pack and the stuff I brought, but this trip will give me a chance to think about what I could do better and have some perspective before I actually put out a video about it. But it's going pretty well. You like your pack, buddy? You're worse than me. You just keep going and going, and you don't think about water until it's too late and you feel like crap. I mean, you're not able to verbalize that, but I feel like it's happened to you before. All right, well, guess that means we're ready to get back on the trail. Good thing we did that water break, Nolly. It is uphill. Good Lord. Man. 80 degrees. Temp hasn't changed much. My body temperature certainly has, though. Nolly's panting a bit, but he's hanging in there. Now, one of the things I did read about this area regarded the lumberjack trail, which I believe we are now on because it is muddy. Purposely decided not to bring the Gore-Tex sneakers, and I am still ultimately happy about that because a lot of that water was well over my ankles and they would have just never dried. But then again, these have been wet the whole time too, and now they're soaking up mud. Woohoo! All right, Niles. All right, buddy. Good navigating skills there. Doing good. I think the mud might finally be over. Well, there's a couple small patches, but at least it's getting better. That was not just a short section of mud to deal with. That was like a mile of mud. And I don't even know that I'm exaggerating much. At least 3/4 of a mile, I guess. Just navigating mud. The old lumberjack trail. Probably, and I'm sure I'm not the first to say this, maybe just change the name to the mud trail. A little more honesty. But, sun. It feels good. Been in the shade for a while on this trail too, which is good because we were both getting a little overheated, and combined with that uphill we did, it was brutal. But doing pretty good now, hanging in there. Nolly's legs are covered in mud. We'll have to wash him up before he gets in Sarah's car, that's for sure. Grab a little water. This looks like some mossier stuff. So it'll probably be a little more of a challenge, but I think it'll just go through the old B-free filter pretty quick. It's been working good for me. That is good. And easy. I do like this filter. What are you doing, buddy? Look at you, just hanging in the sun. Saw the opportunity and went for it, huh? You take a little rest. I just fed him a little bit ago. Not too far, actually, before I hit that bad mud back there, there is a plane crash site. Now, Nolly and I didn't go to investigate it. Apparently there are some remnants still left there, but back in 1973 there was a small, I'm assuming a private airplane, it was like a little Piper, that crashed, and unfortunately 2 people did perish in that crash. Some people go visit it. I don't think it's that far off the trail, but I didn't even really think about it until afterwards. But that is on the lumberjack trail, if you've heard of that crash around here, just kind of as a landmark. But we spared ourselves. Keep it upbeat and positive today. Just hanging out in West Virginia with my dog, having fun in the woods. Can't ask for much more than that. All right, well, that would be the definition of ironic, kind of funny. As soon as I got done saying all that, some hikers walked up, asked if I was familiar with the area. Nolly, stay here. Nolly wants to follow him. I said no, but they mentioned the plane crash. I said, let me check GPS. And hold on, my dog's walking like, oh my God, you're so muddy. Anyway, long story short, I checked the GPS. I'm practically standing right in front of it, so it's on this side of the mud section of the trail. Anyway, they're down there scouting around for it now. We're going to keep on moving. Similar to what I said, we're just going to enjoy the day and we'll let them explore it, and maybe we'll save that for another day. All right, let's keep it going. Nolly, you're coming with me, not your new friends. Dry ground. And now I know it is over. I was tricked back there. There was another section of mud. That's okay. Up here is the intersection I did last night. Only yesterday, I went down there, and then I popped out in that field that you saw at the beginning of the video. So from here on out, it's the same trail I took in. It should be straight up there. You ready, buddy? You know which way to go? You smell our scent from yesterday? What do we do? What are we gonna do? Which way? Yep, you got it. Come on. At this point, it is back to the uphill. Now, I do remember checking my watch. I think I was at 4,800 feet at the flat section at the beginning of this trail, I think. I'm at 43 now. roughly. So 500 foot, can't speak, tired. 500 foot push for Nolly and I. I think you might be getting a burger tonight too. Last time after his hike we gave him a burger, and we skipped the bun as well. That was in Front Royal after a Shenandoah trip he did, and he seemed to enjoy it, so I think we'll be doing that again. All right, Huckleberry Trail. Take a right-hand turn on this, in case you couldn't tell from the sign here. This isn't even an intersection. They're just very determined to let you know the trail turns right at this point. I mean, no other trails listed, right? Nope. All right. Well, Nolly, seems obvious to me. You ready? I know. I noticed your pace is slowing down a little bit, buddy. Having a pack on is different, huh? Tell me about it. This is a pretty nice path, huh? It's like kind of meadowy, but in the trees still. This was pretty cool yesterday as well, but today, much warmer. A little sunnier, I think. And that brings up a good point. It's like 3:30 right now, and no sign of that storm. So either it's pushed back really late or just dissipated. I don't know. I'm not going to complain or ask too many questions. The wind is kicking up a tiny bit, but I think actually that's just because we're finally up to higher elevation. And we'll check out the Spruce Knob. There's a viewing tower up there. We'll see what that looks like. Not sure if I'll be able to bring the dog up, but we'll check it out. I didn't look at that yesterday. And then we'll hop in the car and start figuring out where to get a burger. But not quite yet. We got a little bit more to do. A couple more miles, Nolly. I hope you got it in you. You're doing good, though. We've been doing some training with around the neighborhood, very flat where I'm from in Delaware, but it's miles nonetheless. And I've been doing 7 miles in the morning to kind of start my day, and I occasionally take him, and he's been doing good. So been working him on the miles. The real difference with this obviously was about an extra mile or two per day, and the elevation changes, as well as obviously the big thing is the pack that he has. But he's doing pretty good. Definitely needs to be sized better. I'm sure somebody out there is going to comment that this is like dog abuse because it's not really on him right. It seems to be getting worse, but we're almost to the car. Let me try to fix that. I think it's just because the straps are too short, unfortunately. Put that on that side. There you go. A little hard, the footing on the last section of the trail here, or the beginning, depending on which direction you're going, of course. But other than this, towards the parking lot, trails around here are nice and just solid dirt, which if you've hiked in Pennsylvania or New Hampshire, etc., you know that's not anything to take for granted. Tons of campsite opportunities around here from what I'm seeing as well. Actually, the entire area seems to be rife with awesome camp spots. But here in particular, within like a mile of the parking area at Spruce Knob, looks like little offshoot trails just every once in a while, and tons of opportunities. So ideally you could come here and, well, kind of like what maybe I could have done is get here later in the day, just hike like a mile in, catch one of these cool campsites, and then continue on your business the next day. But I like the way it worked out. Nice to know there's options for future return visits though. Get the wife down here, maybe Trail Slipper and Danielle Disco. I could see this being a pretty cool place for the whole crew to go. Pretty laid back kind of vibe. Don't have to crush a ton of miles. It seems like a good little network of trails and plenty to see in a minimal amount of miles. Getting on some gravel here. I do believe that means we're close. Get you back on that leash. Let's see, which pocket was it in? There we go. There it is. Welcome to the Seneca Backcountry, or in our case, thanks for visiting. Ah, man, nice. Car's right over here. You remember where it is, Nelly? What are you doing? You getting in that pickup truck? It's not for us. Come on. I think "us" is a word I just made up that means you and us at the same time. That looks a little more like it, doesn't it? You want to at least let me take that pack off of you? Yeah? Come on. Let me unclip it. It's hot in this car too, man. I think you're enjoying the bed, but it's a little hot. There we go. Feels good to have that off, huh? Whoa, where are you going now? I'm gonna get you some food and some water, and then we'll check out what this viewing station or tower or whatever is. And oh no, you want to be out here? Oh, yeah. We ended up doing more miles than I anticipated being left on the route. That's okay, but we're here now. We made it. It's also a bit later because of those extra miles. It's 4:57. It's about 5. It's about 2 hours later than I anticipated originally, but that's okay. There is 0 cell service here. Just a heads up to everybody. Even approaching this area, you run out of cell phone service. I would say a good ways before you get here, let alone once you're really here. At least for me, I think they might have another company here that's local. But anyway, the point of that whole ramble is that I'm going to get cleaned up, take a look at these sites, and then start heading out so I can call my wife and let her know that everything went swimmingly. I'm going to guess that's the summit. So perhaps it's one of those deals where there's not really a view from the actual summit, but I believe we have made it to the tallest point in West Virginia. But behold, this structure. I suppose this will help with the view just a little bit. Check mark. All right, now back to the end of the vid. So really appreciate you joining us on this trip here. Till next time, that's Denali. I'm Syntax 77, and right now it's cheeseburger time.